Welcome to this edition of the Ozark Hobby Adventurist. I'd like to thank everybody to the man cave, aka the workbench. Uh, this is where all the craziness goes down. And today we're going to take that little differential that is no longer differentiated, and we're going to put it into the back of this four-wheel drive off-road car. Change the camera. This is my Himoto Tanto. This was a Christmas gift, and I got another car for parts, and I really enjoy it. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this diff in there, and so first thing we need to do is get rid of the body pins. Remove the body. We're going to do this whole thing right here. It's going to take about 15 minutes or so. Alright, we're going to need two tools. One, a screwdriver. Two, a pick, or a really small screwdriver. And what we're going to do here is we are going to be separating the upper cover from the lower cover for the differential housing. In order to do that, we need to take this piece here, and we're going to completely loosen these four screws, remove this bracket, loosen these screws and these screws, and then of course we'll hit these two screws, and we got a little parts modification that we're going to show you. So we're going to tackle into this, and I'm not going to be using a rechargeable screwdriver because there's no need in it most of the time. Like I said, I'm not taking everything completely apart. The first time you do this, it's probably going to take at least an hour. At least. Could take two depending on how many interruptions you get. Like I said, normally this takes about 15 minutes. Alrighty, and we remove the motor clamp. Completely. And don't forget, when it comes to metal screws and plastic parts will break before the metal screws will. So don't over tighten your screws when you go to put everything back together. Alrighty. Get a little better view here. Now I got these four screws on the back half of this. And they get completely loosened, but not removed. And this is about how you would do it at a racetrack if you were out racing and had to do this. Okay, that screw's loose, that was loose. And we're going to show you a modified part here in a moment that really helps out on doing repairs and disassembly. And as you do this, you will find faster ways according to whatever your vehicle is and your mechanical skills are. Okay, now we're almost there. So what we're going to do here, here's where I've had to modify some parts. This is a big pin. It's like a square U pin. This holds the left side and the right side suspension arm on. It's basically the hinge pin on the inside. Well, in order to do this, when you first get this, you got to pull this out and it drops both arms out at the same time, which gets to be a pain. So what I've done is I've taken a file and I've cut it literally directly in the middle, and that's where your, oops, couldn't see that, could you? Try it again. And this is where your pick comes in handy. You stick it underneath there and you pop that out. You stick it underneath there and you pop that out. And now you can take these out independently. There's one. There's two. Now we can take the dog bones out. Take that dog bone out. Now, too much coffee. Now we take the screws out of the front of the bulkhead. Actually, the rear of the bulkhead. And the only thing I do to really lube the gears in this is a little dab of grease on the pinion. That's it. Okay, so now we have everything disassembled while it's still together. So to prepare, I'm going to set this over here. We're going to literally pull this apart, and pull that one out, and put the older one in. I like saving my new parts as much as possible. And now we start the reassembly process. So it's not really all that hard. It's just a matter of breaking down and doing it a few times. And then we tighten all of our screws down first, because we're going to have to turn this upside down. Don't want the screws to fall out. And you're probably wondering what the two little red things are on the back. Well, this thing's been modified a little bit. And so I had to use some longer screws, and to prevent my nuts from getting lost if they fall off, that's a little bit of heat shrink tubing over the end of the threads. It also protects the threads a little bit from rocks and this, that, and the other. Well, we're almost done. The screws only need to be tightened as tight as they need to be. They don't need to be over tightened. They definitely don't want them under tightened. The best torque wrench you have is your wrist. And so we hope this video will help you maintain your rig, and you realize it's not so complicated. Too many people are afraid to jump into it. Don't be afraid to. but do be afraid to lose parts. Sometimes a lost part is harder to get fixed than a broken part, because usually the parts you're going to lose are going to be screws. Alrighty, we are down into the home stretch. So as you can see, it really didn't take that long. Got my hand in the way. Alright, now we're going to put all this back together again. This may look like a complicated mess. Now, if you can imagine trying to do all this at one time on both sides. Lining up the drive shafts in the cups. In the RC world, they call them dog bones. Okay, that one's in place. Now, imagine trying to do that with both of these at the same time. Quite a aggravating experience. Ta-da. Put the screw back in. Put our motor lock cap cover plate thingy back on there. And there we have it. All in under 15 minutes. Sounds better rolling forward. So there you go. It's not really that hard. You just got to jump in and do it. And if you have any questions, you can get a hold of us at Ozark Hobby Adventurist on Facebook. Drop us a line, leave us a message on YouTube. Share, like, subscribe. But right now, I think it's time to go out and play. Thanks for watching.